Hello grade 4, welcome to our new science session. Today we will study lesson 5, what are conductors and insulators. Let's get started. Who likes cookies? I know that most of you like it, but have you ever thought, why does your mom wear her oven mitts when she's getting the cookies out of the oven? And why does she use materials like this to put the cookies inside it when she's putting it inside the oven? This is our lesson today. Because there are some materials that conduct heat and others that do not conduct heat. What is the meaning of this? Let's start our lesson. The first kind of materials are called conductors. What is a conductor? A conductor is a material that allows heat to pass through it. How does this happen? The heat will move through something, so when you touch it, you will feel heat. Many heat conductors also conduct electricity. Do you remember electricity? Solids are better conductors of heat than liquids and gases are. That's why we use cooking pots and pans which are made of solids. That's because the particles that make up a solid are packed closely together. Do you remember this? When we studied the states of matter, we said that the particles, the tiny objects inside the solids, are so close to each other. And also they do not move. They just vibrate, but don't move apart much. So heat can move quickly from one particle to another. That's why they conduct heat. They are good conductors of heat. They allow heat to pass through them. What about glass? Glass doesn't conduct heat well. It conducts heat, but not very well. If you pour boiling water in a metal bowl, the outside of the bowl gets hot quickly. Of course, you cannot touch the pot or the bowl which is made of metal when it has boiling water. But a glass bowl gets warm more slowly. It will not get hot quickly. So glass doesn't conduct heat well. What about marble? Marble doesn't conduct heat as well as metals do. That's why we have it in our kitchens. It can still conduct the heat away from your body. That's why marble feels cool when you touch it. When your mom puts any hot pot or pan or even a cup here in the marble and she gets it out, you feel that the marble is cool when you touch it. It's not so hot. So marble doesn't conduct heat as well as metals do. It stays cool when you touch it. What about metals? Metals are great heat conductors. And some metals conduct heat better than others do. Of course, not all metals conducting heat the same way. Aluminium is not like steel, is not like copper. They are different, but all of them conduct heat. Here, let's imagine that we have a bowl and inside it there is some boiling water. And we bring a wood spoon, a metal spoon, plastic ruler and a rubber spatula. and we stick here a piece of butter on each one of these materials. One piece on the wooden spoon, another piece in the metal spoon, another one in the plastic ruler, and one on the rubber spatula. What will happen? Do you remember conduction and convection which we studied last time? What will happen to the pieces of butter which we stick here? When we leave them, we will notice that the piece of butter which is here, which is stuck here on the metal spoon, will melt so quickly. Why? Because the metal spoon is a good conductor of heat. So the heat will pass from the liquid boiling water to the metal spoon and making this piece of butter melt. What about the other ones? Nothing will happen to them. Why? Because they are not heat conductors. They are heat insulators. What are insulators? Insulators are materials that do not conduct heat very well. The heat will not move through them. Like the oven mitts, they are insulators. When your mom is holding any hot thing, she's wearing the oven mitts. Why? Because they do not let the heat pass through them. They are made of materials that are poor conductors of heat. Gases can be good insulators. They do not let heat pass through them easily. A thin layer of trapped air is an excellent insulator, and this thin layer of air is found in most of our jackets. When you touch your jacket, you will find it's made of 2 layers or maybe more. And some jackets like this one, when you touch it, you will feel it's fluffy. It has air inside it, between its layers. That's why, because it makes your body keeps its heat inside it. It doesn't let your body lose its heat, so you keep your body warm. This also happens with the gloves which you wear in winter. What about the animals which live in snow? These animals have thick layer of fur. This fur is made of many hairs stuck to each other. Again, this fur is made of thick hairs, and around it there is air. And as we said, air is an insulator, so it keeps the animals warm. They live in snow, but their bodies are warm because of the insulator, which is air around the hairs of their furry skin. What about this rubber layer which covers all the electric wires? As we said that most of the heat conductors are also good conductors of electricity. Can we touch it while heat or electricity is moving here inside this metal? Of course it will be dangerous. That's why they put this rubber layer out here to keep us safe, because it's insulator. Guess what? Which is better? When you use a wooden spoon or metal spoon? If you are cooking and you left the metal spoon inside the hot pot or dish or plate or whatever, what will happen? The heat will move through this metal so you cannot touch it. It will be so hot. But what about this one which is made of wood? It will stay cool. Why? Because wood is insulator while metal is conductor. That's all for today, grade 4. Thank you for listening.